Significant outside jobs these days.
Well, I would say it's actually the percentage that were significant outside jobs was always generally
Not that high, but they were making a lot of money.
There were very even if you go 30 years ago, 20 years ago, there were very few people that had heavy duty outside law practices or things. There's people they might have to do some pieces of it, but you can't do these jobs correctly that way. Certainly in Westchester, where I'm from, I don't think we had anybody who had another job of significance going back decades. It's just not. You couldn't meet the demands of the communities that you represent.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have to be out in the communities. It's not up here. It's just a part of the job.
Oh, good. I love what I do. So I have no complaints. I've just got a whole host of issues that I sort of prioritize. This being one of them, and do it. Another issue I'm working on is I know there are a lot of proposals for privacy issues.
Any particular
Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Liz Moran, and I am the New York policy advocate for Earth Justice. We're here today to note the last day of the public comment period for the Greenidge generating facility. And we're here to echo our partners who are in the Finger Lakes today, also gathering in Geneva, to urge Governor Hochul and the Department of Environmental Conservation to deny the facility's Title V air permit. Given the immense climate and local air impacts from Greenidge's Bitcoin mining operation, which utilizes proof-of-work cryptocurrency mining technology, DEC must deny the Title V air permit. As DEC has stated, this facility has not demonstrated how it will align with the crucial climate goals of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. This facility's air emissions have been growing since it has been converted to a proof-of-work cryptocurrency mining operation. For a period between 2011 to 2016, this facility had 0 emissions, but that was before it was brought back online as a proof-of-work cryptocurrency mining facility. Ever since, carbon emissions have been growing. For the period of 2020, carbon dioxide emissions were over 228,000 short tons. And the problem is not just with carbon emissions. There are also sulfide oxide and nitrogen oxide emissions. The facility will speak of carbon neutrality and purchasing carbon offsets, but this is expressly not allowed in the state climate law for the electricity sector. Additionally, carbon offsets do not help the communities surrounding Greenidge, who have to deal with the increasing SOx and NOx emissions. Not only should New York State resoundingly deny this permit, but the state must also address proof-of-work cryptocurrency mining on a statewide scale. This is a rapidly growing industry, and studies have found that its energy consumptive nature alone can push the globe above the goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming. The expansion of this industry stands to jeopardize New York State's ability to meet the important Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act goals. So with that, I am so thrilled to be joined by a group of fantastic speakers and allies today, including Assemblymember Steve Otis, Assemblymember Pat Fahey, Connor Bambrick of Environmental Advocates of New York, Eric Weltman of Food and Water Watch, Russ Haven of the New York Public Interest Research Group, and Fred Pfeiffer with the Solidarity Committee. So with that, I'll be turning it over to our first speaker, Assemblymember Steve Otis.
Thank you, Liz, and thank everybody for being here. Cryptocurrency is something that people have a lot of hope for, and that this is going to be a great economic engine in the future. But there is one form of cryptocurrency authentication, proof-of-work mining, that presents the problems that we're here for today. So number one, we have to send the message, we're not against cryptocurrency. There are kinds of verification and authentication that if you look at like what a bank normally does, cryptocurrency is outside the banking system, but banks verify assets, and they have a system for doing that. They're quite efficient at it. The other kinds of cryptocurrency authentication are likewise very simple and do not use a lot of energy. But proof of work, that methodology, which some forms of cryptocurrency have chosen to use as their method of verification, use a tremendous amount of energy. So the question that we have to ask, but not just here in New York, around the country this question is being asked, around the world this question is being asked, is this kind of activity that uses so much energy the right move in terms of protecting our planet? Type of activity that gives off so much in emissions. What is this doing to our ability to meet our climate change goals? These are important questions, but I need to remind everybody, it's not just New York that's asking these questions. They're being asked by Janet Yellen. They're being asked by Bill Gates. They're being asked by countries all over the world. So New York has an opportunity now to make sure that we give the proper scrutiny to this activity. The permit that is up for renewal that we are discussing today was originally obtained for a different purpose. And Liz went through, there were no emissions for a number of years and low emissions until they moved to this proof of work mining as their major activity. So it's a time for New York State to look at this activity very carefully, to re-examine the premise by which the original permit was authorized, and to make sure that we protect our climate change goals, but also the environmental health of all New Yorkers. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you so much, Assemblyman. And now I'd like to welcome Assemblymember Pat Fahey for her remarks.
Thank you. Good morning. And thanks, Liz, and thanks to my colleague, Assemblymember Steve Otis, as well as everyone who is here today. The bottom line is, this is no time to go backwards. I say all the time, I was so proud to support the climate goals 2 years ago, over 2 years ago now. And whether people supported those or opposed those, just about everybody agreed they were pretty darn ambitious, the goals that we adopted here in New York State. No time to go backwards on those. We're committed to it. We need to do all we can to reach those goals. This will send us backwards. This is the right bill at the right time. What we are saying is hit a serious pause. We're asking the new administration to hit a serious pause here and give us a chance. As my colleague Steve Otis said, this is not a comment about cryptocurrency. We know it is growing. We know that there may be lots of potential here. It is this proof of work, the mining, that is causing such serious problems, and it really threatens the goals that not only that we have here in New York, but throughout the country, if not the world, which is why you are seeing alarms beginning to be raised at the national level by Janet Yellen and others, as well as internationally. And so I do love when New York leads. I do think it's important. I would need to do a shout out to our other colleague, Assemblymember Anna Kellis, who has also really helped to educate so many of us in the Assembly on this issue. So it's not only stopping this plant, the proposed plant that is before us now, or the permit, I should say, but it is also giving New York a chance to put the moratorium, adopt this moratorium, give us a chance to find other ways. There are alternatives, again, as you just heard Liz talk about, as well as Steve Otis. We have other opportunities and other approaches here that can still marry these issues and allow us to look at cryptocurrency and still possibly grow it, but grow it in the right way and not by damaging the environment, which is again, no time to go backwards. That's the way I look at this. So stand with everyone here to say, let's not move on this permit. And I actually commend the new governor, Governor Hochul, for a number of recent adoptions she has made, including the 50,000 electric chargers that she's, I think just yesterday, that she mentioned. So she's been on a roll in terms of energy and the environment. We want that continued, which is why we think it is so important that we deny this air permit now. So thank you, everyone. A pleasure to stand here with you. I'm going to leave shortly for another ribbon cutting. It's a big day, but thank you again to all the advocates for helping to educate us as well and bringing needed, very needed attention to this issue. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Fahey. The Assembly members have made some very important points. We're not opposed to cryptocurrency. We're concerned about proof of work cryptocurrency mining, a technique that utilizes a tremendous amount of energy through its use of 24/7 operation of very large computer systems. There are other means of cryptocurrency mining, such as proof of stake. And we're very encouraged by recent decisions from the Department of Environmental Conservation and the Hochul administration to deny the permits for Danskerm and Astoria. In the case of Greenidge, this is like a new gas plant come alive again for the purposes of this mining. And we have to keep our momentum going. So with that, I'm thrilled to announce our next speaker, Connor Bambrick of Environmental Advocates of New York.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you to Assemblymember Fahey, Assemblymember Otis, and Assemblymember Kellis for really leading on this issue. It's much needed. I think we've all heard here, it's pretty clear that the operations at Greenidge are inconsistent with the state's climate law, and the DEC should be rejecting it on that basis alone. I want to speak a little bit to the concept that Liz just brought up earlier, the rejection of the repowering projects at Dansgamer and Astoria from a few weeks ago. Those plans were rejected because they did not meet the state's climate law. It is ridiculous right now that we have a situation where it is easier for an old, retired, inefficient plant just to flip a switch to run an operation like this than it is to get a solar farm sited in New York. We have very strong siting laws in place that should be governing how these plants should be operating, and they should have to go through those all those same processes that our wind and solar and even new fossil plants have to go through. We already saw here with Dansgamer and Astoria that new or repowered fossil plants are inconsistent with the climate law. That same standard should be applied to old retired plants. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Connor. Our next speaker is Russ Haven of the New York Public Interest Research Group.
Woo, Nyberg.
Thank you. So the proposal that we're commenting on, the Greenidge proposal, is really a bait and switch proposal, or maybe it's a Trojan horse. Essentially what they're doing is trying to dress up a power plant in a new technology and bootstrap the old permit, which provided grid reliability and was intended to be part of our electric system statewide. They're intending to use that as a way to sneak in this for-profit Bitcoin mining plant. And given that there's perhaps 13 of these mothballed facilities around the state, it's of great concern. If this is to be replicated, then the climate law is in serious jeopardy. While blockchain technology, which is sort of the underpinning for cryptocurrency, may well be here to stay. There's certainly useful applications we may see for it. But when you have an energy hogging program like the proof of work type of crypto mining, that just blows our energy goals out of the water. If it's allowed to operate, the Greenidge power plant station Bitcoin mining plant will drive a superhighway through the state's climate law. Based on the DEC's recent permit denials for the Astoria fracked gas plant and the Dansgamer project in Newburgh, the Greenidge Bitcoin plant must be rejected as a climate killer. So we're urging the governor and the Department of Environmental Conservation to reject this plant. We'd recommend, in addition to the legislative proposals, which NYPIRG supports, that there be a generic environmental impact statement looking at this technology and its potential impacts. Again, the plant will contribute more greenhouse gas emissions, both directly and when you look at the life cycle of creating the fuel, than they've been emitting in recent years. So we can't meet our climate goals if we keep adding more intensive fossil fuel demanding, greenhouse gas spewing facilities in the state. This plant must be rejected.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Russ. And our last speaker is Eric Weltman of Food and Water Watch.
My name is Eric Weltman, and I'm a Brooklyn-based senior organizer with Food and Water Watch. We're proud to join environmental advocates of New York, NYPIRG, and our champions in the legislature today in sending a message to Governor Hochul. No fracked gas for cryptocurrency mining. The decision over Greenidge's permit is an important test of Governor Hochul's leadership on climate and her commitment to moving New York off fossil fuels. It is essential that Governor Hochul block this frack gas power plant and halt any new fossil fuel infrastructure in New York. The science is clear, and so are Governor Hochul's moral and legal obligations. New York must move off fossil fuels, and that means stopping the Greenidge power plant. It is also essential that Governor Hochul press her fingers on the pause button on all such projects, which could decimate the prospect of meeting New York's climate goals. We need Governor Hochul to institute a statewide moratorium on proof-of-work cryptocurrency, and we need her to do it now. New York banned fracking, but we remain threatened by an onslaught of pipelines and power plants that transport and burn frack gas. Several weeks ago, Governor Hochul blocked frack gas projects in Newburgh and Queens. Now Governor Hochul must take the next step now and prevent dozens of dormant power plants from being revived from the dead for cryptocurrency mining. Governor Hochul, I visited communities in Pennsylvania where the gas we're burning is fracked. I've seen the dirty water, I've smelled the pollution, I've heard the noise. I've met parents who are terrified that their children are being poisoned. And they are. Their children are being poisoned, Governor Hochul. I've seen the devastation that the Greenidge plant would cause in communities where the frack gas is violently sucked out of the ground. Governor Hochul, this is an important test on protecting the climate and protecting so much more. And the science is very, very, very clear. You must pass this test. Governor Hochul, as the devastation from Hurricane Ida tragically showed, our communities are at risk and our lives are at stake. We need you to stop this dangerous frack gas project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. As others have stated today, the Greenidge facility is the first test for New York State when it comes to addressing the climate threats associated with proof-of-work cryptocurrency mining and what that means for New York State's important climate goals. The next test will be the Fortistar facility in North Tonawanda. We cannot play whack-a-mole with this industry. We need to take a comprehensive look now to see what are the environmental impacts, what are the climate impacts. Does this jive with New York State's Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act? This is why a statewide moratorium is urgently needed due to the rapidly growing nature of this industry. So thank you all for joining us so much today. We're going to be moving on to the second floor to symbolically deliver the over 5,000 comments that were generated today in opposition to the Greenidge facility. Thank you so much.
All right.